On December 1st, 2025, while scrolling through my game's code, I noticed a comment that I don't remember writing.
You made me do this.
You might be thinking, why'd you write such an odd comment for your player's movement script? I was thinking the same thing until I realized someone else is inside my project. To explain how I got to this moment, I need to catch you up on a few things. I've been making a ragdoll rage game in the Unity game engine for a little less than a year now. The game's main controls are that you grab with WASD and fling this ragdoll with your mouse. I've been making devlog videos and shorts about this game for months now, and recently had my first playtest for this game, so losing this project would mean a lot to me. That being said, this all started when I was working on fixing some of the issues that players had in the playtest. Players reported that they were lost and didn't know which way to go in the game. I mean, let's reenact what a player might do in the first part of the game.
Where do I go? Yo, there's a shopkeeper. I can get a hat, I guess. Where do I go? Maybe up this tree. Oh, maybe over here. That makes sense. We're already going this direction anyway. Oh, I can't read that.
So I decided to add subtle clues like tilting the tree slightly towards the intended direction and adding a directional sign resting on the side of the hat shop. After I added these clues around the whole map, I noticed something off about my Unity editor. I was somehow able to update my workspace. For some context, I'm using something called Unity version control, which basically keeps my files saved across the cloud. The reason I use this is so that while I'm in college, I can download the game files and continue to work on the game without being home on my computer. So this message is saying that new files have been uploaded to the cloud and that I can download them right now. But nothing really changed, so I checked the version history, and this is where things got weird. No description, no email, and no changes were made. Just a timestamp from 2:13 a.m. When I looked at my own clock, it was 9:13 p.m. This was not me. In an effort to find out more information, I looked at the time zones. Since 9:13 p.m. is 5 hours before 2:13 a.m. and my time zone is EST, that means the person who made this update had the time zone UTC, which includes a bunch of different countries like the United Kingdom, Ireland, Ghana, and many more. The point is, this info was ultimately useless other than the fact that I know now the upload wasn't from me. But at the moment, I was convinced this was a glitch with Unity not knowing which time zone I was in. You might think I was being ridiculous, but hear me out. I've recently been working on localization for the game so that the game's language can automatically be switched over depending on which language your computer is set to. So optimistically speaking, maybe Unity thought I was in Portugal, which makes sense since it would have been 2:13 a.m. and Portuguese is one of the languages I added support for in my game. With that in mind, I hope you could see why I brushed this off as a Unity glitch, but the attack didn't stop there. I continued to add new features to my game for the rest of the night. Most of the features are from the comments you've been suggesting on my YouTube shorts. The seriousness of these comments ranges from adding body cosmetics to adding a blinking frequency slider, but of course I added them both. The more I worked on my project, I started to get paranoid, because technically I've been working inside of a project that someone else uploaded files to. Did this folder exist? Why is this prefab called 3 barrels? Did I make this script called gambling wheel? Oh wait, yeah, I definitely did. Ooh, I got a comment. Hold up. Bruh, I'm not adding that. Anyways, everything was actually normal. I was just losing my mind until I noticed something off. Did you see it? There was a comment in my player movement script over the force release key function, stating,
You made me do this.
At first, I just stared at it, thinking if this was just another one of my paranoia scares, but the more I thought about it, I knew this wasn't from me. My comments are usually factual, useful statements that explain the code for my future self to understand what's going on, and writing in all caps is not really my style. You made me do this? Do what? Write the force release key function? I couldn't figure out what this meant, but I don't know why the change that was made to the script was not showing up in the version history, but at least this comment is harmless and can simply be deleted for now. A few hours passed by in the day and I decided to reopen my game project and continue working on my game. I checked to see if there were any new script comments that were made where the last one was, but thankfully there were none. I went on to make a huge change to my game, where instead of having the background be static, which creates a 2D feel, I made the background get rendered by a perspective camera, which creates a parallax effect, making it feel more 3D. I went to click play on the game, but there were many errors. I went to check what was wrong with the camera controller script, and there it was again.
Do as I say or everything's gone. You know.
And And I actually did. As I mentioned before, I've been adding suggestions from your guys' comments. I try to add as many of them as I can, but some features just don't fit the aesthetic of my game. My sneaking suspicion on who this person is one of my viewers, at cool guy but mystery. On almost every one of my YouTube shorts, cool guy comments add gun. What is this person's deal? Why does this person want this feature so bad that they hacked my game project just to make me do it? The answers to that, I don't know, but I'm not going to add a gun to my game. Still though, I responded to their message with okay. Why? Because they didn't specify what type of gun. So I decided to add the Nerf gun I had from another project of mine and make it a collectible for the player to find. This way, it stops the hacker from destroying the rest of my project and they get what they want in a way. Now, all I could do is wait for a response. Weeks later is when the response came. In the meantime, I added new features like in the level editor, you can now scale objects and even change some of the game settings like fling speed. I also added slippery surfaces to the game so that when you fall at certain sections, you don't restart from the very beginning. And of course, after collecting the Nerf gun, you get a badge for it. Wait, why is the text erasing? That's not supposed to happen.
You failed to make a real gun. Say goodbye to your game.
No, wait! Good thing I made a backup.